Greetings, rescue team. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to The Crust, Episode 4, Building Facilities for Rescued Survivors.
Director, our main account balance has reached a critical low, which poses a significant risk to our company's operations. It's important to remember that constructing conveyors and laying electrical wires entails financial expenses. Moreover, all capsule shipping operations, including sending contracts or buying and selling resources, incur transportation costs that are our responsibility. Without funds in our account, logistics will come to a halt. I will initiate a transfer of 30,000 credits from our reserve account, but please be cautious, as this exhausts our reserve funds. Proceed with care and closely monitor our credit balance.
Okay, lady. So, got some reserve funds to try to keep the operations running in the black for now. Yeah, they had a rainy day fund, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna exploit that. Pay me. Or something like that. Alright, Rover, how you doing? You are about halfway there. We have significantly expanded the power, which is great.
Director, news about the difficult situation with Hope 2 has reached us. We are ready to provide a base to temporarily accommodate the crew. The offer has already been sent to your representative.
Message from an unknown sender. Security needs a little time to decrypt. Okay, great. Director, Malachite has responded to our request for help. They are offering assistance to our rescue operation, but there's a catch. I'll put the message on the screen now. The Malachite lunar base is not designed for long-term human occupancy, but it is equipped with small life support modules. Judging by the sensors, they're still functioning. Malachite is offering to temporarily accommodate the crew on their base to give us time to build what we need. However, if you read their offer carefully, it implies that we will have to return the favor if necessary. We can agree to their terms to make the rescue go smoothly, but remember that in that case, we will owe them a favor in return. In any case, the decision is yours.
Do we accept Malachite's offer to temporarily house the people that need rescue, in return owing them a unknown favor? Yes or no? All right, nope.
I can't agree with your decision, Director, but I understand your reasons for being cautious.
Yeah, I ain't owing anyone nothing. So it wants me to set up a 15 by 15 zone. Oh, also we got the smelting furnace upgrade as well. So we have projects for every type of science at the moment, which is good. Next one will be medium solar. And we want to set up a 15 by 15, and as you can see, right now it can only be about 7, so we have a little bit more excavation to do before I can really set up a crew room. And we're working on that. Unless we hit a resource node, I intend to build some of it here. In order to make sure we have a lot of concrete to build with, I'm also raising the bulk resource storage for Regolith up a bit. And then let's check in. I still have a little bit more room to deal with the slag, but that's going to be a problem soon. The Regolith refineries that we have so far are about 1/3 filled with slag. And once they fill up, that will pose a different problem. I think the power poles here are kind of in the way a little bit. So I'm going to get rid of them. Give me a little bit more room to build. Because this would be like a 15 by 15-ish. Once it's excavated. Another research that would be terrible to have would be hard rock drilling, to be able to drill these hard rocks that are otherwise blockers. In fact, because the footprint of the project is kind of getting blocked by the hard rocks, I might raise the priority.
Around the research post, there is a leveled platform and several small buildings. Wheel tracks are leading away from it in different directions. Inside the structure is disarray. Items are scattered, lockers are open and emptied, emergency crates are opened and emptied. In some rooms, there is a large amount of research equipment and materials. There are no people to be seen. They clearly left the outpost in a hurry.
So, I can either extract scientific data from this research outpost or salvage machinery for resources. Quick little poll about what to do. And this is because the rover got to the research outpost. And then once this is resolved, I'll send the rover somewhere else. So we're going to go for science.
Based on what I saw, the outpost was engaged in studying photosynthetic microorganisms capable of living in a vacuum and zero gravity. Director, send drones to study the materials. This will aid in further research.
So if I sent 2 drones, 2 robots here, we would get some organics. Let's do that. So I'm going to set up an expedition where Jonah the Nomad will take 2 drones to pick up 70 organics, and then this checkbox will have it return back to base. Oh, the problem is I don't have an expedition center, so never mind. This has to wait. Forgot about that. Alright, do I have the space for a 15 by 15 now? Almost. And then the hauler drones are moving the regolith away, turning into concrete. There we go. I'm going to put a door here. And
Objective achieved.
Start building.
Provide the drones with materials and complete the construction. Keep a close eye on the supply of steel and concrete, and repair modules of the product chains in a timely manner. Also, you can convert drones back from miners to speed up the building process.
Let's do that. I'm going to have 2 mining bots continuing to chip away at the surrounding regolith here, so that it's not just one building, because the tutorial did tell us that people don't like living next to processing facilities. Keeping sleeping and working and all that separate would be ideal. And this costs iron, or rather steel and concrete. Another thing we might want to consider is to ramp up our steel production. I do have a known vein of it way over here. It's not like super convenient to get to, so I might want to wait for next day cycle and try to scan for some, because I don't want to use up my power right now. We don't quite have enough power to last us the entire... we'll have enough to last the entire night, but if I use any additional power, it's going to be a problem. Pretty soon this rover will likely be out of power. Yep, it's running low. And now we are laying the materials for building after removing all the regolith underneath. Hope 2, hold out. We're coming, I promise. And the walls are going up. I didn't mean to click that. Moon base. We're getting ourselves a moon base. Okay, I think we're doing pretty good on power. And already, I don't know, like a fifth of the lab is, or a fifth of the quarters is built. It's pretty good progress. There's also some research projects that I'm probably going to want. Ventilation would be a big one. So once farming and cooking technologies is done, I'll highly prioritize ventilation as well. It's not strictly necessary, but it's going to be really nice to have. So unlike the regular extractors for regolith, the ice is different. The ice is extracted through these ice extractors. And I'll build one now, but I'm not going to power it up until we need it. All right, how is our regolith buildup, or slag buildup? Just over a third. So still okay. Good.
Research complete.
This regolith refinery is not keeping up. It's filling with titanium oxide. So once I have more money, we can think about increasing production speed. All right, hard rock drilling is done. Sweet. So hard rock drilling allows us to mine away these harder rocks, which are also a special resource too. So I'll get rid of some of the harder rocks that are sort of terrain blocking us, opening up the map a bit. We're also going to need beds. Actually, beds are going to be more important than ventilation. So I'll queue beds up as well.
Director, to obtain oxygen, we need to find ice deposits among the regolith and set up its extraction.
Done it.
Use the R detector to find ice deposits. We've set a good pace, but time is still working against us, Director. Try to keep that in mind. Build the ice extractor and then the ice melter. This will allow us to produce water and oxygen and supply them to the living quarters.
Done it.
Research complete.
All right, we just researched farming technologies. So let's queue up the ventilation. And then I'm going to raise beds and ventilation higher, because we want that sooner than later. Power's coming back. Fraction of hope. The unidentified object turned out to be a module from an orbital station. The area around it is littered with thousands of small fragments. The module itself is bent and twisted. Approaching closer and inspecting the debris, the cargo truck's cameras notice a particularly faded inscription, Hope 2 RM5. Before the collapse, this was the research module of the Hope 2 station. Apparently, the station sustained such serious damage that the external module detached from its main structure. It's possible to send the cargo truck with a drone for a detailed examination of the module. Alright, you heard that? Cargo truck with drone once we have an expedition center. Alright, next up, let's go to the observatory with Major Mildew. And the expedition center is a fundamental research that we will aim to get soon, but it is very power hungry, and we don't currently produce the kind of power it's going to want. So that's why I've not queued it up so far. So one might have already noticed, the hard mining produces this different resource. So if you open up the resource tree, this is called rare earth minerals. It's not regolith, it's different, and it's refined in a separate refinery, which we'll do later on once it becomes more relevant to the story and mission. Still building a room though. I may further expand the power grid because I really don't want things going dark. I can always shut things off if it's a real concern. But generating just a stupid amount of power is obviously a very good way to ensure the lights don't go off. And the first structure is almost done. Well, it's getting there. They should give you the schematics for free? Yeah, well, you know, game mechanics. If everything was free, there wouldn't be an accomplishment in earning it, would there? Is there a storage unit to put the rare minerals into? Yeah, it's just bulk goods. Bulk goods is basically any unprocessed anything, so I could start collecting it if I wanted to. I just don't care that it's on the ground. It's not harming me for it to be littered about.
Research complete.
Okay, we got beds, so we should be researching ventilation. And then after beds and ventilation, let's get... let's see. Medical block. Okay, my drillers are idle. Continue to drill out around the living quarters. Batteries are not fully charged, but we have way more power going into this night than last night. So although we're about to lose solar power, I feel pretty good. It should be greater than 16 days. Oligbo 4. This is the Automated Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, a network of 5 observatories that were constructed on the moon with active participation from Crust between 2073 and 2079. The primary goal of the project is to detect and study the gravitational waves of cosmic origin. The observatories are located thousands of kilometers apart from one another, enabling researchers to determine where the gravitational signal is originating. The observatory was damaged by an explosion, and there still may be valuable equipment or data regarding the nature of the recent disaster. Perhaps it's worth sending a rover with drones to investigate. Alright, rover, let's go to the demolished structure. So we have a bunch of things for the cargo Jonah the Nomad to do once I have a expedition center, which I don't currently have, but I will have soonish. And we're nearly done with this bad boy. So I'm a little low on steel, which is, I think, the bottleneck here. And it says I have 22 days of power. So yeah, that's way up from 16. We have significantly expanded our power grid. And that is without the medium solar panels, which we will be queuing up at some point. Or I have it queued, rather, we'll be unlocking at some point. Okay, I'm going to stop excavating briefly just so that we can get this project fully built. A lot of the regolith is getting nice and cleaned up, turned into concrete. And I haven't been doing a lot of expanding because I have a dwindling pile of cash that I don't want to mess with because I don't have the ability to take on contracts, and selling basic
Research
goods
complete.
isn't very efficient. Selling steel, concrete, not great. Components would be a little bit better, but I don't have tons of them. So, smart concrete factory. This thing is important because all of my refineries right now are building up slag. So if you take a look at I think this refinery is the most slag. We have 1.3k slag in there. And once it's full of slag, we're kind of stuck, right? It's so full, it blocks everything up. So what the smart concrete factory does is it takes slag and silica dust, silica oxide, and turns it into smart concrete in a way more efficient process than the pressing module. Probably what we want for it is a second source of silica, though, because if we pull silica from our silica smelter, we're not going to have a lot of silicon. So next sunup, we can use the ore scanners that I've set up and try to find a second source of silica. I'm sure it's out there. We just need to scan it. I'll put an ore detector here to scan this section, and I'm sure it will pop up. It's not that rare. Okay, so the drones are currently idle, so let's go ahead and give them some work. Turning them mining drones, and mining some more. Wasting science points. I am wasting fundamental science points. So let's queue something up that requires a lot of fundamental science. Well, this only uses fundamental science, but it's not a technology I particularly need. Fuel generator is a good backup generator, which goes and eventually gets a fuel factory. So let's do that. Once we have people living here, it'd be a lot more comfortable if I knew that I could turn on a fuel generator to make sure the lights don't go out on them. So that's exactly what I intend to do. And the room is just about done.
quarters require electricity and oxygen in order for the life support systems to start working. Let's start with electricity. Install an electronic board on the wall and connect it to the main network with a wire. This way, the whole space will have access to the power grid.
Okay. So if you go to the wires or utility mode, there's something called an electronic board, which powers up the entire room. There we go. And that will power the room on. I'm also not done with the rooms. I am intending to expand upon the rooms a little bit as well. So, just ignore... I'm essentially ignoring a bit of the tutorial for this purpose. And building this secondary room here. Obviously, I don't have a ton of steel, but I'm going to build it anyway.
Complete.
Okay, drone excavation speed. Cool. Let's go. So I've got green, I got a bunch of green research left. Blue is filling up quick, so I should queue something blue up. I'll queue the Expedition Control Center up. It's not to say that I'm necessarily going to build it immediately, but...
Objective achieved.
It's about time to build an ice melter, an essential element for producing water and, by extension, oxygen and food.
Okay, ice melter. So in order to keep people alive, we need to melt ice. And I'm going to drop an ice melter here. The ice extractor produces ice. So then I can wire or conveyor ice from the extractor to the melter, which allows us to melt it into water and then through electrolysis produce oxygen as well. Do I have that research yet? Yes, I do believe I did. Yeah, so I have the electrolysis plant and the oxygen receiver. Perfect. And I know this isn't powered on just yet. I'll start powering it on now so that we have a queue of ice. I could put in a bulk goods storage for this, but at the moment I don't really have need for stored ice, so I'm not going to bother. In the crater lies a vast storage structure, comprised of multiple segmented modules. Emergency vehicles are scattered around the area. A sign by the entrance identifies it as the reserve warehouse, and a Crust logo makes it clear who the owner is. The facility is designed for emergency use and houses a large quantity of steel, smart concrete, and modular frames. I also received some engineering research. So we can pick this stuff up with a cargo truck. Again, I don't have the Expedition Center. Actually, this one doesn't require it, I don't think. And then at this point, Major Mildew, let's go to the private lab. Yep, all right, the truck's gonna go fetch that stuff. Awesome. It's not really an expedition, it's just like a cargo moving. We should be getting daylight soon. And then I'll start scanning for what we need.
Now that we have ice mining, we need to learn about oxygen facilities to create a life support system. Complete the appropriate research and build an electrolysis plant.
Objective achieved.
To ensure that colonists feel safe indoors, one electrolysis plant is not enough. It produces oxygen, but we need a backup plan. Call me a pessimist, but I've heard enough stories about sudden water and power outages leading to the deaths of entire base crews. Let's make sure it doesn't happen to us. Construct a compressed air tank oxygen receiver so we can have reserves on for a rainy day. Got it. So here in life support, we have the electrolysis plant, which I'll put right in front of the water melter. And then I'm going to put a vent here, allowing oxygen to freely flow between these two rooms. And then it wants me to get an oxygen receiver, which is here, which is basically just a backup ox tank. Rainy day oxygen. Get that built. And these require basic resources. Nothing we don't have. All right, power's on. So, let's go ahead and do some light scanning. Looking for silicon so that we can get more efficient smart concrete and use up slag. Wow, that was a bust. Okay, you're gonna get deleted. You're up. Lots of rare minerals, but water? Come on now. I don't want to be a water baron. Let's go. Titanium. That's awesome, but like not what we're looking for. I will delete the infrastructure here and probably wait for a little bit more power generation before jumping to more scanning. Meaning I'm gonna get some more solar. Now I am getting really close to my CPU max. Essentially, what the CPU max is, every single building that you build requires a certain amount of CPU. And once you're maxed out, you need to either build more efficient things. So rather than small solar, build larger solar, medium-sized solar, or build essentially computers, mainframes, in order to expand your power grid. So there's the electrolysis plant, and over in the bottom right here, as we can see, there's temperature, oxygen. So this is like partially oxygenated because the electrolysis plant just got built. Water supply and power supply. So there are filters to know if your like living quarters is livable or not. Another thing we could do, which I won't, but would be possible, is just to buy some steel in order to supplement what we're missing. I think it might be time, however, to start tapping this iron over here, because I really just have not had any luck. And this is, having played through the tutorial multiple times, what I will say is like, this is worse than average luck trying to find other nodes. Now our colonists won't die from lack of oxygen, at least not until they run out. I think it's a good start. So we did get the oxygen receiver here, which, you know, builds up a compressed tank of oxygen. Keep in mind that additional rooms in the facility will be uninhabitable until we connect them to a source of oxygen. For this, each room needs a ventilation, which I just built. It will distribute not only oxygen between the rooms, but also heat.
Director, we now have living quarters. It's time to make them habitable. Build beds, a farm, and a kitchen. The new residents will need them. Hydroponic farms will allow food to be produced as long as there is access to water. A kitchen will allow colonists to cook and eat. As for the purpose of beds, I bet you can figure that one out on your own.
Shaggin'. Maybe. Not that she would know anything about that with her attitude. All right, let's try scanning up here. Dear Lord, what is going on? Where's the resource? Oh, more titanium. I don't want titanium. I just want some silicon. Freaking hell. I think I've already scanned this area, but I'm just going to do it again. Okay. Screw me. Apparently, I cannot, for the life of me, find silicon. Just by chance. Alright. I guess I'll fire up this ore scanner. It couldn't hurt. We do have a lot of stored power. Yay! I found some silicon. Alright, the private lab allows me to pay for science, which I am not about to do because I'm okay on science right now. So let's go call for help. Sending major mildew to the east. All right, the other things that the game wanted me to do is to build a kitchen and a hydroponic farm and stuff like that. But I think what we really need to do first is to scale up our iron production or our steel production because it's really a bottleneck at the moment. All right, we are... Oh, you know what? I'll scan around here, too.
Research complete.
Medium solar panels. Sick! The other thing I'd like to work towards is the batteries. Larger batteries for efficiency. And then also salvage. Salvage is going to allow us to break down all the debris outside. So I don't actually need to queue up a new research project, but... just letting you guys know that I am working towards salvage and larger batteries. Right, I don't think this scan was needed because I'm pretty sure I've scanned this area, but doing it again anyway. All right, let's tap the iron. So, extractor, regolith refiner.
You can't build here.
Doesn't go. Well, that's going to be a weird zigzag, but it's fine. Spaghetti. And then the smelter. Might need to make it a little wider. Let's make it wider. What does it cost to upgrade? Like 20k. Basically my entire money pool. It's cheaper to build a new facility than to upgrade old ones by a lot. Because these cost raw resources. All that I'm paying for here is conveyor belts and power, which is a fraction, like a tenth of the cost of upgrading already existing locations. So when in doubt, more, not build wide, not tall. Because like the conveyor system here is like 1,000, right? Okay, research complete for the fuel generator. Let's queue up the fuel factory next. And then, at the end of this, we'll have a box of steel. So this is going to be producing iron oxide, and this is going to be producing steel. And then this is going to be storing steel. The power poles aren't yet done, but, you know, they'll get them. And again, about 24 days of power, which is fine because it's a 14-day night period. If only that was true in V Rising, right? And then to help out on the steel a little bit, Jonah the Nomad is coming back with 35 steel, which isn't bad. And that should help get our, I intend for this to be a bedroom, get the bedroom to be built.
Research complete.
Medical block. All right. So we don't have any social research queued up. So I'm going to get the extended tender license, which allows for better trades. And I think we've just about doubled our steel production for like 5,000 credits, which is pretty good.
Package delivered.
And here comes Jonah the Nomad with the supplies from the emergency bunker of stuff. Another thing that would be good to do is to potentially queue up medium solar panels in lieu of the smaller ones. But I'm going to wait until I have more of the place to live things done. Thank you for tuning in to The Crust, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow space miners.